just for you, and this is an all body weight workout that you can follow along with me. It's about a 28-minute workout, start to finish. Got a little warm up to go along with all of the exercises that we're doing. This is actually a routine I'm doing today in the gym with our regular membership, so I figured I'd bring it to you as well because it is a challenging workout. The movement patterns are very, very simple, but simple never means easy. And again, you can do this anywhere, anytime. You can mix these exercises up as you go with other workouts down the road. But this is a follow along. So I'll start the timer here in just a second. I'm going to take you through our warm up as well that we do in here, which is relatively quick. There's 4 exercises we'll go through twice. The first 2 exercises we'll do on one side of the body and then the other, something called a side lunge. And then you'll come together and do a squat. So we'll start with that. We'll stay with the same side for 30 seconds. I'm going to start the timer now and go. So it's a side lunge, a little bit of a hinge at the hips. Come with your feet a little wider than shoulder width and do a squat and then go out to that side lunge once again. So for our warm up, we also use 30-second sets for the most part, just 5 seconds in between exercises. When we get to the main part of the workout, keep on going, side lunge to squat. When we get to the main part of the workout, we'll be doing 30-second sets there as well, but we'll have 10-second breaks in between each of the sets. All right, shake it out, reset, now switch sides, same exercise. I'll try not to get myself too winded so I can actually talk to you as we go through these exercises. So you keep on going. I'm going to talk now. So when we get to the main part of the workout, there are 4 groups of 4 exercises each. We'll go through these 4 groups, 4 exercises. We'll go through them twice. So each group will be 8 sets long, 30 seconds on, 10 seconds in between. All right, next up we're doing rotating plank. So we're down on the mat. Start off in a push-up position, feet nice and wide. We'll do a side plank, come back to the middle, and then do the plank on the other side. So these are called rotating planks. And as I tell my people in here, go nice and slow with this. You don't need to race through. Just trying to warm up the shoulders a little bit, warm up the core a little bit. Believe it or not, this actually works the legs a little bit as well. Got jumping jacks coming up next. A couple of variations of jumping jacks. If jumping isn't your thing, you can do them like this. You can slow it down. A lot of our senior members and those with some mobility issues will do them like that. You do whatever you feel like you want to do. I don't want to have this microphone jump off of me. You guys keep going. Got 10 more seconds here. We'll go back through these exercises one more time. So we'll be back to the side lunge, to the squat next. 3, 2, and 1. Again, you pick which side you want to begin with. Doesn't matter. Side lunge, squat, and squat. You keep on going. I'm going to talk about the first group of exercises. It's going to be all legs all the time. We're going to be doing 2 sets of something called a split squat. Then we'll do something called pulse squats, and then finally a squat and hold exercise. You guys keep on going. 5 more seconds. All right, last set of the side lunge to the squat. So side lunge, squat, side lunge, and squat. Hands can go wherever. I just like to put them in front. Helps keep me balanced and focused. They can be wherever you want your hands to be. Doesn't really matter. Just old habits die hard. So that's where my hands end up when I'm doing movement patterns like this. Rotating planks are coming up next. All right, down on the mat, side plank to side plank. Again, keep it controlled. Feet are staggered. The feet will kind of rotate just a little bit as you go through this. One more set of jumping jacks coming up. Nice job. All right, jumping jacks. To wrap up the warm-up, I'm going to do a few, and then I'm going to stop because I'm going to grab some water so I can talk and breathe. You guys keep on going. Hopefully the timer is readable to you. If it's not, oh well. You'll hear the 10-second knock, 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 and then the horn goes off. So that means 10 seconds left in a set. And that means we're done. So now a 45-second break. So again, these first 4 exercises, this first group is going to be 8 sets, so 4 exercises times 2. Split squats are squats with our legs split apart. So when you step back, like we talked about with the lunges, don't step back 1 foot behind the other like you're trying to balance on a tightrope. That usually ends up very poorly. So start off about shoulder width and keep that stance, relatively speaking. Now we're going to do squats from this position, basically straight down. Here we go, straight down and straight up. We'll be doing 30-second sets, 30 seconds on one side, 30 seconds on the other. Go. So straight down, try to get that back knee to touch the ground lightly. Don't jam it in. If you can't get all the way down, that's fine. You can lean forward a little bit. That'll put more stress on the quads. If you go more straight up and down, that'll be a little bit more glute-centric. And the hands can be out to balance, whatever works for you. And you don't need to go fast with this. That's a mistake that a lot of people make. All right, shake it out. We're going to reset, switch sides. Same exercise. A lot of people will try to bounce up and down, and that's not horrible, but that's not the best way that you can do something like this. Be deliberate, especially as you're going down. When we're lengthening the muscles, which is what we're doing here, lengthening the quads here and on this leg. This is primarily the working leg, but that back leg is working too. That's called the eccentric portion of a movement. And that's the part where you want to take your time with. All right, now we're doing something called pulse squats. We'll get into a squat position, not all the way down, but about a 3/4 squat, and we're just going to pulse up and down. A little bit of movement. The idea here is we're trying to keep as much tension as possible in the quads and a bit in the glutes as well. You need a break, shake it out, reset, get back into it. Try to keep the weight a little bit back in your heels. Try to keep the chest up a little bit. Try not to fold your body in half. A lot of people will do that and think that's a squat. It's not. All right, now we're going to do a squat and hold. Now the idea is to try to get down into a good, as close to 90-degree squat as you can. From the side, that would be down about like this. Not too far down, that's a stretch, but this is not it either. So somewhere around here where your legs are close to a 90-degree angle. Again, keep that chest up. Try to keep the weight a little bit back in your heels. If you feel like you're going to fall over on your butt, that's about the right position to be in. Try not to have your torso folded over like this. All right, we go back to the top, so we are back to split squats. Doesn't matter which side you start on. Again, squats with the legs split apart. And I might take a break along the way because I still have a couple of classes after this to lead through. And while I don't do the entire workout with them, I do demonstrate a lot of the exercises. And some of these add up over the course of 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 classes throughout a day. That's where I get a lot of my working out, is demonstrating exercises. All right, switch sides. This will be the last set of split squats. And if you've probably noticed already, as you probably have noticed already, I can't talk. The second time through, a little more challenging than the first time. Again, what you do with your hands and arms, just don't do this. Don't try to push off of your legs. I call that cheating. So keep on going. You got 3 seconds left. We'll be back to our pulse squats next. So I'll do this from the side angle this time. Again, squat position, but not all the way down. Kind of going between a 1/3 and a 2/3 squat. Again, just pulsing up and down. That tension continues to add up as you go through this set. If you need a break, like I do, like I said before, stand up, shake it on out, get back into it. Three seconds left, 2 and 1. Last set here in this first group will be a squat hold. So squat position, as good and as strict as you can make it, and hold on to it. Last set, 45-second break coming up. We'll switch gears and we'll play with some different plank variations. You guys keep going. Halfway through this set. Five seconds to go. Get out of the clock way. Get out of the way of the clock. Yeah, I'm tired today. All right, next up, we've got 3 different plank variations and then some push-ups. We're going to start off with what's called a low plank, which is basically from the forearms. Second variation will be a high plank, which is also known as the push-up position. From there, the next set will also be in the push-up position, but we're going to take away one point of contact and do something called an opposite shoulder tap. That'll be pretty challenging. Last exercise in this sequence will be push-ups. And here I've got or chest press. Some people can't do push-ups. It bothers their shoulders a lot. So have them grab dumbbells and do a dumbbell chest press. All right, forearm plank. I think you can kind of see where I'm at. Should have tested this a little bit better. There we go. A lot of people, when they do planks down here, will put the hands together and just hold on for dear life. That's not the best way to do it. I like to tell people, imagine your arms are balancing on railroad tracks. That helps open up the shoulders a bit, so take some stress off of there and actually makes your core or your abdominal muscles work a little bit better. Tilt your pelvis towards your face. You want kind of a slight rise, actually, when you're doing that exercise. I'll talk more about it next time. Now we're going high plank, push-up position. You can have your feet close together or a little bit wider than hip width, your choice. Be in what's called a neutral spine position. What does that mean? That means don't tuck your head down, don't crank it up. You stare at the ground. There should be a straight line from the top of your head all the way to your tailbone when you're doing a lot of these exercises, particularly the planks. Keep breathing. Try to keep your hands as close to being right underneath your shoulders as possible so all those joints are protected and stacked. All right, now we're going to add that shoulder tap to it. So that means one point of contact is coming off the ground. Now you definitely want to go with a nice wide stance. One hand goes to the opposite shoulder. The slower and more deliberately you move with this exercise, the more challenging it is. Take away that one point of contact, that forces the rest of the body. Keep going. That forces the rest of your body to have to compensate for that lack of balance. And it's a lot more challenging than most people realize. All right, now we're going to do push-ups. Several different ways you can do this particular exercise. Of course, the full version looks something like this. So arms end up at about a 45-degree angle. You can do this from your knees as well if you need to, but make sure you're coming all the way down to the ground. Another variation of push-ups that you can do starts down here, but as you come up, you actually come to that full high plank push-up position. Come down as far as you're able to hold it, and then drop to your knees and do a nice modified version of a push-up. This is how I teach people to progress from those on-the-knee push-ups to a full version of a push-up. Now we're back to that forearm plank, the low plank. You can't see me at all, which is probably a good thing. All right, one more time through these exercises. Keep breathing and tuck that pelvis towards your face. So you won't be completely flat with your back. You don't want to have your hips sag down towards the ground. That's bad for the low back. Job. Now we're back in that high plank, aka the push-up position. You can have your feet narrow, you can have your feet wide, whatever's comfortable for you in this position. Hang on to it as best you can. You guys keep going. We have the shoulder tap coming up next, halfway through this set. Three, two, and one. All right, now you're back in that high plank push-up position, opposite shoulder tap. Again, have your feet nice and wide down there. The narrower your feet are, the more challenging it's going to be to keep yourself with good form. Here, you want to have good form. You want to force one side of your body and then the other to compensate for that one point of contact no longer on the ground. Keep it going. Halfway through. Five seconds. Nice job. All right, push-ups. Pardon me. Push-ups to wrap up this second group of exercises. 45-second break coming up. And we'll switch gears once again. As we go through this, if you need breaks, take extra breaks along the way. One of the things that people discover when they do come in here for our normal workouts, timing sequences, there's very little break between each of our sets. And that adds up pretty quick. All right, nice job. Another 45-second break. Most people, when they do group fitness workouts, they're in workouts that can be anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour long. And they'll come in here for a half-hour workout, and they think, am I going to get a good workout or not? And we'll try one and tell me how you feel at the end. We have very little rest in between our sets and exercises, and when we go stations around the room, same thing. All right, now we're going to do some direct core exercise. So we've kind of played with core work, but now we're going to get down and dirty, literally, with some core work. First exercise is going to be something called seated knee tucks. We're going to be sitting down on the ground, feet at an angle. Have your arms back behind you, sort of at an angle out there. We're going to bring our knees to our chest. Try to keep the knees together. Pause when you have the knees by your chest. That's when you want to breathe out. If you need to, have the heels touch when they come out. That's a way to make this a bit easier. Try to lean back as far as you can. This will get your hip flexors a bit too. So I always like to tell people, do a bit of an arcing movement with your knees coming towards your chest. All right, now we're going to do something called flutter kicks. I'm going to pause the timer here for just a second. Flutter kicks are kind of an interesting exercise. If you do these incorrectly, they'll definitely play with your low back. So as you set yourself up, we're going to be straight out on the ground. You want to have your hands somewhere around the top part of your butt cheeks back here. That kind of creates a bit of a shelf, which allows you to press the low back all the way into the ground. So you want no space in between the ground and your low back. Our legs are going to be straight out. We're going to flutter the legs, hence the term flutter kicks. And the closer, generally speaking, to the ground the legs are, the harder this exercise is. Most people will do this with the feet just kind of pointing away. A little harder way to do it is point your toes towards your face. Just look straight up at the roof and flutter out. The closer your legs are to the ground, the harder it is. Higher they are, a little bit easier, but you can play with different positions. And some people like to do a scissor version of this exercise, and that works too. So long as you got that low back, suck that belly button in all the way down to the mat. All right, next up we're doing alternating jackknife sit-ups. This is where the upper body comes off the ground a little bit, and we go opposite arm, opposite leg. Key here is to control the legs as they make their way back down towards the ground. Don't just let them drop like that. That's gravity doing the work, not your muscles. Three, two, and one. I'm going to pause this one here as well. Walk you through what a hollow hold looks like. So a hollow hold is basically you're going to balance yourself on your butt, legs slightly bent. You can have your hands close to your body. You can have your knees close to your body. The further apart all of your body parts are from one another, the harder this exercise ends up being. If you need a break here, two things. You can bring all of your body parts really close together, or you can spread out a little bit and let the heels rest on the ground while still leaning back. That will still work your abdominal muscles, but it's a bit easier than having the heels off the ground. You guys keep going. I'm an old man. I need a break here. Got 5 seconds left. We will go back to the top and go through these exercises one more time. So that means we are back to the seated knee tucks. That's this move right here. Do your best. If you need breaks along the way, take them. "20 seconds to go. Like we did with the leg exercises, the second time through this sequence is going to be a lot more challenging. All right, so now we're back to our flutter kicks. So hands on top of your rear end, press that low back into the ground, straighten out those legs, flutter out, point the toes towards your face if you can. Experiment with how high your legs go. Figure out what you can actually do for 30 seconds. Again, generally speaking, the closer your legs are to the ground, the harder this exercise is. But sometimes that can vary day to day, believe it or not. Got alternating jackknife sit-ups coming up next. So that's the opposite arm, opposite leg routine. Again, work on controlling the legs as they make their way back down towards the ground. That's the key to this exercise. Don't give in to gravity. "15 seconds to go. Now we're down to 5 seconds. We wrap things up in this sequence with our second and final hollow hold. Again, you find the balance point that works for you. As you get stronger with all of these exercises, you'll find you can start doing them in more challenging positions and more challenging ways. At the outset, try to find the easiest way to do the exercise so you can actually do it. And if that means bringing your knees close to your chest, resting your heels down and just leaning back slightly, that's fine. You've got to start somewhere. 5 seconds, 45-second break coming up. 3, 2, and 1. All right, so we've been pretty well strength focused so far. We're going to up the cardio bit just a little bit with these 4 exercises. The first 3 exercises will be down in the same position, essentially. A bear plank, then a front to back bear crawl, and then mountain climbers. Those are all going to be positions where we're going to have our hands underneath our shoulders. We'll be moving a little bit with the bear crawl, but the bear plank and the mountain climbers, hands will be right underneath the shoulders. Burpees, which I just call in here, falling down and getting back up, essential life skill, is the 4th exercise. So we've got 4 minutes of work to go. Bear plank position on your hands and knees, hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Pick the knees up off the ground and just hold this position right here. If you need a break, drop the knees to the ground, reset, get back into it. Again, neutral spine, head's not going anywhere, but right at the end of your spine. Keep breathing. If you do this enough, this is one of my favorite exercises, you'll find out that it's not really a core exercise. It's going to work your shoulders and arms and your legs if you're in the right position. Right now, we're going to add some movement to that. We're going to do some bear crawls, front to back. So short, choppy movements, a few paces forward and a few paces in reverse. I tell people in here, only go as far forward as you are willing to go in reverse, because going backwards is much more challenging than going forward. So adding some movement, a little bit of technical difficulty to that bear plank position. All right, now we add a little bit of a different element to this. Mountain climbers, our legs are going to start coming towards our chest. Keep those hands right underneath your shoulders. A lot of people make this mistake here and do this kind of a move. Don't do that. Hands right underneath your shoulders. Move as best as you can. If it's like this, that's fine. Keep it going. 5 more seconds. We've got burpees coming up next. Many different ways to do burpees. You're just falling down and getting back up. I'll show you 4 different ways as we go through this. One is all the way down to the ground, falling down basically. Second version, out to that plank position, push up, come on up. Third way to do it is without going to the ground. Fourth way, there is no fourth way. Little jump if you can. All right, we're back to the top. 2 minutes left. We're back to that bear plank. Hands and knees. Pick the knees up off the ground. Hang on to this position as best you can. Keep breathing. You guys keep going. We're almost done. And by we, I mean you. Five seconds. All right, next up, we're doing that bear crawl, front to back bear crawl. So start yourself off in that bear plank position and then start moving forward. Try to keep your hips as level as you can. A lot of people start getting up like this, hips way up. If that's what you need to do to get through this, that's okay. Just keep yourself moving. Over time, try to keep the hips as level as you can. Some people like to call this a quadruped crawl. That's fine. It works. It's the same thing. All right, next up, mountain climbers. That's knees coming up under your body. Extra challenge, come across the body with the knee. You don't have to. That does put a lot more stress on the shoulders. If you can handle it, great. If you don't want to try it, that's great too. 15 seconds to go. We've got one more set of falling down and getting back up to wrap up this workout. 5 seconds. 3, 2, and 1. All right, burpees for the win. Do your best with this. 30 seconds is all. Even if you only do one, make it a good one. And I just call it falling down. If you don't want to use any kind of technique, that's okay. Just get yourself down to the ground and get yourself up off the ground. When you lose the ability to do that, it's not a good sign. Okay, hang in there. 10 more seconds, guys. Come on, finish as strong as you can. 3, 2, 1, boom. There you have it. Again, that's the workout we did in here today. All body weight all the time. As time goes on, you can mix up these exercises, but now you've got 16 different exercises. Well, some variations of one that actually turns into 2 exercises to add to whatever it is you're doing. I'll give you some more videos. Maybe I'll come out and see you sometime in the not too distant future, but I'll start adding on to the exercises that I gave you initially, which, as I mentioned at the very beginning, those are all compound exercise movements, meaning multiple joints, multiple exercise, or multiple muscle groups working at the same time. There are some isolation exercises that I can get into, and then some variations on the exercises, those 7 that I gave you that I actually think turned into 8 exercises altogether. We'll go through some variations of those just to mix things up. You tell me what you want to work on as well as we go through this. If there's something that you're still not clear on, which is very much the possible case here because you're still just starting off doing this, please just don't hesitate to ask. Hopefully this workout works well for you. You can do it in bits and pieces. You don't have to do the whole thing. You can do one group and then stop, and do another group and then stop. Whatever you want to do, it's up to you. But again, hopefully you found some value into this, and I'll be seeing you guys hopefully in the not too distant future. Thanks again. Stay healthy. See you later. Bye-bye.